Home Depot issues warning to shoppers, another train derailed. Watch what you drink, folks. Now, this is nuts. This is insane. It's asinine. And as much as I hate even freaking talking about this, we're going to have to do it. Now, another train has derailed in our country. And guess what, guys? It is carrying hazardous materials and it collapsed into a river, of all places. What the actual flip is happening here, guys? Wasn't the one in Ohio enough? You guys remember the train derailment in Ohio, right? It wasn't that long ago. Now, I can't believe it, but yes, another train derailment has happened in the United States. And this time it collapsed in the Yellowstone River. So here's a question. If you live anywhere near here, are you comfortable drinking your water now? Or hey, if this happened in your area, would you still drink the water? Just comment a quick yes or no to answer that down below. Do you guys listen to Spotify? Now, there's a bunch of great podcasts there. Although, if you're looking to hear Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, you may be out of luck as their podcast deal with them has prematurely ended, which also means that they're not getting their paid $20 million as initially reported, as this was supposed to be a multi-year deal. Now, on the topic of money, Home Depot is now losing out on a lot of it due to theft, and they're now warning customers that they may even lock up their smallest items just to make sure they don't get stolen. Are we going to get to a point where a pack of gum has to be locked away as well? Now, I know it's nothing to laugh at, but wouldn't it be crazy to lock an actual lock inside of a lock? Because, you know, the irony, right? I get it. I know it was a little bit corny. Anyway, but here's another possibility. We may see a crazy change with commercial real estate as buildings are going to be empty sooner rather than later, a phenomenon that many different cities are seeing, even though they used to be hubs for businesses just a couple of years ago. What do you think is happening? No time to waste, guys. Let's get right into the updates. The 2022 National Retail Security Survey showed that 70% of retailers believe that retail crime has increased within the past 5 years. Now, I wonder what this year's survey is going to show us, especially as stores like Walmart, Target, Home Depot, they're all starting to get desperate when it comes to retail theft. Home Depot's CEO, Ted Decker, was recently on CNBC where he said that there is a huge problem with theft and how it affects his employees. Now, he's saying that this isn't the random shoplifter anymore, as two of his employees have been killed due to these crimes. Home Depot's Vice President of Asset Protection, Scott Glenn, he said, quote, "More and more, we're seeing the risk being brought into the stores and people being hurt or people even being killed in many cases because these folks, they just don't care about the consequence," end quote. Now, this means that they're locking up more of their items, and their CEO even said that something as small as a circuit breaker was being locked up as it was a high theft item. Now, they're hoping that these things can come back to a semblance of normal rather than have them forced to just kind of close up locations altogether, something that their competitors have done in different areas of the country. But what do you guys make of all this? I don't think it would be very helpful to commercial real estate to have even more companies close up shop, especially since more properties are now becoming empty with owners handing the keys back to the banks. Harold Baldwin, a managing director over at Keen Summit Capital Partners, he said this, quote, "The apocalypse that's facing commercial real estate at this moment is all about interest rates and debt maturities. Even if you have a building that had all of the same tenants and all of the same income it had 3 years ago, if your debt is maturing today, you have a real problem," end quote. Well, just how big of an apocalypse are we talking about here? Well, the total distressed assets for CREs, that's commercial real estate, for the first quarter of this year was priced at a whopping $64 billion. Guys, that was just the first quarter, and many analysts are expecting that number is going to keep going up. Have you been to an area where you live recently and you saw offices and buildings that were just empty? Now, on that note, I'm not sure if Prince Harry and Meghan Markle came out empty-handed, but just after one season on Spotify, their deal has come to an abrupt end. Bill Simmons, the head of podcast and monetization over at Spotify, had some parting words for the controversial couple. So here's what he said, and I suggest you cover your kids' ears for this one. Quote, "I wish I had been involved in the Meghan and Harry leave Spotify negotiation. The effing grifters. That's the podcast we should have launched with them. I have to get drunk one night and tell the story of the Zoom I had with Harry to try and help him with a podcast idea. It's one of the best stories. F them, the grifters," end quote. Yikes. Well, that's one way to put it, guys. The Wall Street Journal has reported that the couple failed to meet the productivity benchmarks to receive the full $20 million payout from the deal, which basically means that they expected a lot of people to tune in and they just didn't. I guess they weren't as entertaining as many people thought. At least not long term. Did you really want to hang out and watch the life of Harry and Meghan week after week? I don't know. or I should say listen. Now, it's weird how in some investments just don't work out, huh? Now, if we're talking about investments, maybe our government should look into improving our train system. Get this, guys. A train that was carrying hazardous materials derailed and a bridge collapsed in Montana, and it sent rail cars into the water. Now, we're not back in February, guys. This isn't the Ohio train derailment. This actually happened recently in southern Montana, and it's being said that 2 cars were carrying sodium hydrosulfate. Now, this can cause burns and shortness of breath. However, we're being told that these chemicals did not enter the Yellowstone River.
Portions of a freight train plunging into the Yellowstone River after a bridge collapsed. Multiple tanker cars were damaged and leaking chemicals into the river northeast of America's treasured national park. First responders rushing to the scene. Here's ABC's Zareen Shah with late details.
Tonight, the urgent race to contain a hazmat spill in the Yellowstone River after a freight train derailment and bridge collapse sent multiple cars plunging into the rushing water below. New images showing those damaged cars in the Yellowstone. Authorities say it happened early this morning in Stillwater County, about 40 miles west of Billings, Montana, and 110 miles northeast of Yellowstone National Park. A yellow substance seen coming out of the wreckage. The Montana Rail Link, which owns the train, confirming the crew is safe and no injuries were reported.
You can believe that if you want to. Well, at least that's what they're telling us. But here's the bad news, guys. Molten sulfur and asphalt, it was reported to be compromised, or for lack of a better term, this crap went into the water. The city of Billings has already announced that they're shutting down the city water system intakes fed by the Yellowstone River, and that residents shouldn't be afraid of their water supply as it is pristine of any hazardous chemicals. Now, as much as I want to believe that everything is just fine and that nothing's wrong, no chemicals ended up in the Yellowstone River, I just can't help but be wary of these things nowadays, because the story always changes later on as things get discovered and information that they didn't necessarily want to get out ends up getting leaked out, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, maybe we need to run some more tests. I mean, how many trains go through these tracks? And it just happened to derail with the specific one carrying hazardous materials? I mean, come on. Was this planned? Was this really an accident? I don't know. It just seems a little fishy if you ask me. What do you guys think? Was this just a really bad accident, or should we invest in bottles of drinking water and filtration kits as soon as we can? Make sure you guys let me know in the comment section down below. Now, I guess it would be easier to stock up on supplies if our cash flow wasn't as weak as it has been lately. Well, I guess it's more of inflation weighing the dollar down than anything. That and the mountain of debt that millions of households continue to pay for across the United States. But tell you what, guys, you can drop me some comments down below. And if you're one of the many in the community that really want to make a change, definitely drop me some comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. We can talk about generating multiple streams of income, either on focusing on small businesses or side hustles, creating home-based businesses. I mean, there's plenty of opportunities with investments, be it in the stock market, real estate, investing in gold, silver, index funds, options, ETFs, you name it. But the road to financial freedom, it's not easy, but it's also not impossible. Also, if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote. There's a link to the home warranty quote that is free in the description down below this video. Now, before I go, guys, don't forget to smash the thumbs up button, share this video with your friends, subscribe for your daily dose of the truth. Really appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.